Speak to your blood, because your blood is not just a liquid flowing through your veins. It is memory, it is life, it is intelligence created by God. Long before words came to your lips, your blood was already listening. Long before fear entered your mind, your blood already knew how to heal, how to survive, how to rise. The body was not designed to betray you, it was designed to obey you. But obedience follows authority, and authority begins with awareness. Too many people speak sickness over their bodies, weakness over their strength, and fear over their future. They say, "I am tired," and the blood accepts the command. They say, "I am broken," and the cells repeat the message. They say, "I will never heal," and the body bows to that word. Your blood is always listening. The question is, what are you telling it? When you speak with belief, something ancient awakens inside you. Every cell carries divine instruction. Your blood knows the original blueprint, the design of wholeness, balance, and renewal. When you speak life, the blood responds with life. When you speak peace, the blood releases calm. When you speak strength, the blood reorganizes itself to match the command. This is why silence mixed with faith is more powerful than loud fear. This is why prayer spoken softly carries more authority than panic shouted aloud. Words are not just sound, they are signals. And your blood understands signals better than logic ever will. You must learn to speak before symptoms speak louder. Speak before doubt settles in. Speak before fear takes control. Place your hand over your heart, slow your breath, and speak deliberately. Say, "My blood is aligned with divine order." Say, "Every cell remembers how to heal." Say, "Life flows freely through me." These are not empty affirmations, they are instructions. Your blood obeys consistency. One word spoken once is hope. One word spoken daily becomes law. This is why repetition matters. This is why discipline of thought matters. The body believes what the mind repeatedly declares. Do not wait for proof before you speak. Proof follows obedience, not the other way around. The greatest healings begin when nothing has changed outwardly, but everything has shifted inwardly. Faith is not denial of reality, it is command over it. Understand this deeply. Fear also speaks. Stress also gives orders. Worry also programs the blood. If you do not speak consciously, something else will speak unconsciously. And the body does not argue. It obeys whatever voice carries the strongest conviction. So rise into your authority. Speak calmly. Speak confidently. Speak with inner knowing. You are not begging your body. You are leading it. You are not fighting your blood. You are reminding it of its original intelligence. Your blood has obeyed you since birth. It obeyed when you learned to walk. It obeyed when you healed from wounds you don't even remember. It obeyed when you survived moments that should have broken you. It is still listening now. Speak wholeness. Speak strength. Speak order. Speak life. And your blood will speak back. Not in words, but in renewal, balance, and obedience. Your body listens to your words whether you are aware of it or not. Every sentence you repeat inside your mind, every phrase you whisper in frustration, every label you attach to yourself is received as instruction. The body does not debate language, it translates it. It does not analyze emotion, it absorbs it. From the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep, your blood is responding to the signals you send. This is not poetry, this is design. Life was built to respond to command, and the first command always comes from within. Think about how often people speak against themselves without realizing it. They say they are tired, and the body releases exhaustion. They say they are weak, and the muscles soften. They say they are stressed, and the blood tightens its flow. These words seem harmless because they are common, but repetition turns common speech into powerful programming. The body believes what the mind consistently declares. It has no filter for jokes, no defense against sarcasm, no protection from careless language. To the body, every word is real. Your blood is not random fluid. It carries oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and information. It is communication in motion. Every heartbeat sends a message. Every circulation cycle reinforces a pattern. When you speak, those patterns adjust. When you speak with fear, the blood prepares for survival. When you speak with calm, the blood restores balance. When you speak with faith, the blood remembers order. This is why two people can face the same condition and experience completely different outcomes. The difference is not only what happens to them, but what they say to themselves while it is happening. Words are not just expressions of reality, they are creators of reality. Before anything changes on the outside, it shifts on the inside. The body responds first, then circumstances follow. This is why hopelessness weakens people faster than illness. This is why belief can lift someone before medicine ever touches them. The body is designed to cooperate with the dominant voice it hears. If the loudest voice is fear, the body obeys fear. If the loudest voice is faith, the body aligns with faith. Many people wait for their body to change before they speak positively. They say, "When I feel better, I will speak better." But the order is reversed. You speak first, then the body follows. Command precedes manifestation. Instruction comes before obedience. If you wait for proof, you remain silent, and silence allows old programs to continue running. But when you speak intentionally, even softly, even imperfectly, you interrupt those programs. You introduce new instructions. You remind the body that it is not abandoned, that it is not alone, that it is being led. The most powerful conversations you will ever have are the ones no one else hears. The private words spoken in stillness carry more authority than public declarations made without belief. When you place your attention inward and speak calmly, the body listens more deeply. It recognizes sincerity. It recognizes intention. The blood does not respond to volume, it responds to conviction. A whisper filled with belief is stronger than a shout filled with doubt. This is why stress damages the body even when nothing physically threatening is happening. Stress is repeated language of danger. It tells the blood to stay alert, to tighten, to prepare for impact that never comes. Over time, the body believes it lives in constant threat, and it adjusts its chemistry accordingly. But peace works the same way in reverse. Repeated language of safety, trust, and calm tells the blood it can rest. Healing does not happen in panic. Repair does not occur in chaos. The body heals when it feels safe enough to do so. You must understand that your body is not your enemy. It has never worked against you. Even pain is communication, not punishment. Even fatigue is instruction, not failure. The body is always trying to protect, adjust, and survive. When you speak harshly to it, you interrupt that cooperation. When you insult it, you confuse it. When you speak with compassion and authority, you strengthen the partnership. Authority does not mean aggression. You do not command your body by force, you command it by clarity. Calm leadership is more effective than emotional reaction. When you speak to your blood with steadiness, you create coherence. Heart rhythm stabilizes, breath deepens, nervous system settles. This is not imagination. This is alignment. The body recognizes when the mind is present instead of panicked. Consistency is what transforms words into law. A single declaration is a spark. Repeated declarations become fire. This is why habits of speech matter more than occasional motivation. If you speak life once and negativity all day, the body follows the majority vote. The dominant language always wins. This is not about perfection, it is about direction. Each conscious word shifts the balance slightly. Over time, those small shifts compound into visible change. You may not feel immediate results, and that is where many people stop. They speak once, feel nothing, and assume nothing happened. But the body works in layers. Instructions take time to override old programming. Just like unhealthy habits did not damage the body overnight, healing language does not restore it instantly, but it begins immediately. The moment you speak differently, the process starts quietly beneath the surface. Faith is not pretending nothing is wrong. Faith is speaking truth louder than fear. It is acknowledging the challenge without surrendering authority. You can say, "I feel pain, but I speak strength." You can say, "This is difficult, but my body knows how to restore balance." You can say, "I am not there yet, but I am moving toward wholeness." These words do not deny reality, they redefine it. The body remembers everything. It remembers stress you forgot, trauma you buried, fear you normalized. But it also remembers strength you survived with, resilience you didn't notice, healing you took for granted. When you speak intentionally, you activate those memories. You remind the blood of victories encoded in your survival. You awaken intelligence older than your current condition. Silence can be powerful, but unconscious silence allows negative programming to continue unchecked. Conscious speech interrupts that cycle. You do not need long speeches. You need honest, deliberate words spoken regularly. Even a few sentences repeated daily can shift the internal environment. The body thrives on rhythm, and words create rhythm. If you could see what happens inside you when you speak with belief, you would never speak carelessly again. You would treat your words as medicine, not decoration. You would choose them slowly, deliver them gently, repeat them faithfully. You would understand that every sentence is either building you or draining you. Your body has been listening since the beginning. It listened when you learned to stand, when you healed from childhood illness, when you survived moments you thought would destroy you. It listened then, and it listens now. The question has never been whether the body listens. The question has always been whether you are speaking with intention. Speak to your blood as if it understands you, because it does. Speak to your body as if it wants to cooperate, because it does. Speak life not because everything is perfect, but because life responds to leadership. And as you continue to speak, calmly and consistently, you will notice something shift. Energy returns. Balance improves. Resistance softens. Not because of magic, but because alignment has been restored. Fear and faith both speak, and both carry authority. The body does not choose which one to follow based on logic or morality. It follows the voice that is repeated with the most conviction. This is why two people can hear the same diagnosis, face the same struggle, and walk away with completely different outcomes. One lets fear speak uninterrupted, and the body prepares for collapse. The other allows faith to speak persistently, and the body prepares for restoration. The situation may be the same, but the internal command is different. Fear is not just an emotion, it is language. It whispers constantly, sometimes so softly that it feels like common sense. It says, "This won't change." This is just how life is. It says, "You should prepare for the worst." And every time fear speaks without challenge, the blood listens, the nervous system tightens, hormones shift, breath shortens, the body enters a defensive posture, even when there is no immediate danger. Over time, living in this state becomes normal, and people forget what calm feels like. Faith works the same way, but in the opposite direction. Faith is not denial, and it is not blind optimism. Faith is a chosen language of trust, spoken in the presence of uncertainty. It says, "I am supported, even if I don't see how." It says, "My body knows how to adjust." It says, "This moment does not define my future." When faith speaks repeatedly, the blood softens its grip, circulation improves, the body shifts from survival into repair. This is why hope feels like relief even before anything changes outwardly. The problem is not that fear appears. Fear will always knock. The problem is when fear becomes the primary voice. When it is rehearsed, repeated, and reinforced, it becomes instruction. The body does not resist it, because the body's job is not to judge content, only to obey command. If the command is panic, it mobilizes panic. If the command is peace, it mobilizes peace. The body is incredibly loyal, even when the orders harm it. Many people unknowingly train their bodies to expect danger. They replay worst-case scenarios. They relive past pain. They anticipate loss before it arrives. This constant rehearsal convinces the blood that threat is permanent. The immune system weakens, not because it is broken, but because it is exhausted. It has been told to stay on guard without rest. The body was not designed for endless alarm. It was designed for rhythm, cycles, and recovery. Faith interrupts this cycle by introducing a different expectation. It does not say nothing bad can happen. It says, even if something happens, I am not powerless. That distinction matters. Powerlessness is what damages the body most. When the mind believes it has no influence, the body loses direction. But when the mind speaks authority, even gently, the body regains coherence. Heart and breath begin to synchronize. The internal environment becomes more orderly. Words shape expectation, and expectation shapes biology. This is why anticipation can make you feel sick before anything happens. This is why relief can make pain ease, even before a solution arrives. The body responds to what it expects next. Fear expects harm. Faith expects support. Whichever expectation dominates becomes the blueprint the blood follows. You do not need to silence fear completely to live in faith. You only need to stop letting fear be the final word. Faith does not argue with fear loudly, it replaces it consistently. It speaks again and again until its voice becomes familiar, until the body recognizes it as the new authority. This is not an instant shift. It is a practice. It is training. Just as fear was learned through repetition, faith is learned through repetition. The body responds best to calm certainty, not emotional extremes. This is why quiet confidence is more powerful than desperate positivity. When you speak faith in a grounded way, the body trusts it. Panic disguised as hope still feels like panic to the nervous system. But steady belief feels like safety. And safety is the doorway to healing. C. On Cider, how children respond to a calm voice versus a frantic one. The calm voice brings regulation. The frantic voice spreads anxiety. Your body is no different. It is always listening for cues about what to do next. Faith provides direction. Fear provides confusion. One organizes the system, the other scrambles it. This is why prayer, meditation, and intentional speech have such profound effects on the body. They slow the mind enough to change the dominant voice. They reduce the volume of fear and increase the clarity of faith. Over time, the blood learns a new pattern. It stops reacting to every thought as an emergency. It begins to wait for instruction rather than panic. Faith does not demand immediate results. It understands process. Fear demands instant proof and becomes louder when proof does not appear. This is why fear burns energy so quickly. It is impatient. Faith conserves energy because it trusts timing. The body thrives in that conservation. Healing requires resources, and fear wastes them. Faith preserves them. You may not always feel faith when you speak it. Feeling comes later. First comes choice. You choose the words before you feel their truth. Over time, the body catches up to the language. Emotion follows repetition. This is how habits are formed, and this is how inner environments change. If fear has been speaking for years, do not expect it to fall silent in a day, but also do not underestimate the power of interrupting it even once. Every time you choose faith over fear, even briefly, you weaken fear's authority. You show the body another option. You prove that fear is not the only voice available. The blood responds to leadership, not perfect. Ion. You do not need flawless belief. You need consistent direction. Speak faith even when your voice shakes. Speak calm even when your thoughts race. Speak trust even when answers are unclear. The body does not need certainty, it needs guidance. Over time you will notice that fear still appears, but it no longer dominates. It becomes background noise instead of command. Faith becomes the familiar tone. The body begins to relax faster after stress. Recovery improves. Resilience strengthens. Not because fear vanished, but because it lost its authority. This is the quiet power of faith spoken daily. It does not announce itself loudly. It rewires gently. It retrains the blood to respond to peace instead of panic. And as this shift deepens, you realize something important. You were never meant to live at the mercy of fear. You were meant to lead your inner world with intention. So let fear speak if it must, but do not let it rule. Let faith be the voice you return to again and again. Because whatever speaks most consistently becomes law inside you. And when faith becomes law, the body listens, aligns, and begins to move toward wholeness once more. Consistency turns words into law. The body does not change because of what you say once in a moment of emotion. It changes because of what you repeat when nothing dramatic is happening. What you speak casually carries more power than what you declare passionately once. This is why habits of language shape health, energy, confidence, and resilience far more than occasional bursts of motivation. The blood follows patterns, not promises. It organizes itself around what it hears again and again. Every system in the body thrives on repetition. The heart beats rhythmically, the lungs breathe in cycles, the blood flows in continuous loops. The body itself is built on consistency, so it naturally responds to consistent instruction. When your words align with that rhythm, they sink deeper. When they are scattered, emotional, or contradictory, the body receives mixed signals. Mixed signals create confusion, and confusion creates imbalance. Many people speak positively only when they feel good, and speak negatively when they feel tired, stressed, or disappointed. This inconsistency teaches the body that words are unreliable. It learns not to trust them. But when you speak with intention, even on ordinary days, even when emotions are neutral, the body begins to recognize authority. It senses leadership. It senses stability. And stability is the foundation of all healing and growth. Think of how laws are formed in the world. A rule written once and never enforced has no power. A rule applied consistently becomes structure. Your words work the same way. A single affirmation is an idea. A repeated affirmation becomes a rule your body follows. Over time, the blood adjusts its chemistry, the nervous system adapts its responses, and the body reorganizes itself around the new instruction. This is why people who constantly criticize themselves feel drained even if nothing is wrong with them. The criticism is consistent. It becomes law. The body listens and responds by lowering energy, weakening motivation, and increasing tension. On the other hand, people who consistently speak encouragement to themselves often appear stronger, calmer, and more resilient, even when facing challenges. Their bodies have been trained to expect support rather than attack. Consistency does not require intensity. In fact, calm repetition is far more effective than emotional force. The body does not respond well to dramatic swings. It prefers steady signals. This is why gentle daily language of strength works better than shouting affirmations once a week. Your blood does not need to be convinced aggressively. It needs to be reminded patiently. When you begin to change the way you speak to yourself, it may feel unnatural at first. Old language patterns resist change because they have been repeated for years. The mind may argue, doubt, or mock the new words. This does not mean the words are ineffective. It means they are unfamiliar. The body is learning a new rhythm. Every repetition strengthens that rhythm, even when the mind is skeptical. It is important to understand that consistency does not mean ignoring reality. You do not pretend pain does not exist. You acknowledge it without surrendering authority. You might say, "I feel tired today, but my body knows how to restore energy." You might say, "This is uncomfortable, but I am safe." These statements honor truth while guiding the body toward balance. Consistency in this kind of language teaches the body resilience instead of resignation. The body is always adapting. It adapts to stress, posture, diet, sleep patterns, and emotional tone. Language is part of that environment. When negative language dominates, the body adapts defensively. When supportive language dominates, the body adapts cooperatively. Over time, this adaptation becomes automatic. You stop needing to consciously speak strength, because strength becomes the default expectation. Consistency also builds trust between the mind and the body. When your words match your intention day after day, the body begins to trust you as a leader. Trust reduces internal resistance. Resistance is what wastes energy. When resistance drops, more energy becomes available for repair, creativity, and clarity. This is why people who are kind and consistent with themselves often feel lighter, even without changing external circumstances. Many people give up too soon because they expect instant results. They speak differently for a few days, notice no dramatic change, and return to old habits. But the body works quietly. Changes begin at subtle levels before they become visible. Cells respond before symptoms shift. Chemistry adjusts before sensation changes. Consistency ensures that these early changes are reinforced rather than reversed. Repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity creates safety. When the body hears the same supportive language repeatedly, it stops scanning for danger. The nervous system relaxes. Muscles release unnecessary tension. Breath deepens naturally. These shifts may be small at first, but they compound. Over weeks and months, they become noticeable as increased stamina, improved mood, and greater emotional balance. Your words also shape how you recover from stress. Stress itself is unavoidable, but recovery is influenced by what you say afterward. If you consistently tell yourself that stress has damaged you, the body holds on to tension longer. If you consistently tell yourself that you can recover, the body lets go faster. Recovery becomes more efficient because the instruction is clear and familiar. Consistency does not mean rigidity. It means commitment to a direction. You will still have days where old language slips out. That does not undo progress unless it becomes the new pattern. One negative thought does not outweigh weeks of supportive speech. The body follows trends, not moments. What matters is what you return to most often. As consistency deepens, something important happens. You stop feeling like you are forcing positive language. It becomes natural. The words feel true because the body has begun to reflect them. Energy improves, clarity increases, and emotional swings soften. This feedback loop reinforces itself. The body responds positively, which makes it easier to speak positively, which strengthens the body further. This is how words become law. Not through magic, but through alignment with how life functions. Rhythm, repetition, and reinforcement shape every living system. When you align your language with these principles, you work with your biology instead of against it. Your blood has always been responding to your most repeated messages. It is doing so right now. The only real change is becoming intentional about what those messages are. Choose words that you can repeat daily without strain. Choose language that feels steady rather than dramatic. Speak strength in simple sentences. Speak calm in ordinary moments. Speak life when nothing special is happening. Over time, these words will no longer feel like something you are saying. They will feel like something you are living. The body will reflect them naturally. Balance will feel familiar. Resilience will feel normal. Not because circumstances are perfect, but because your inner law has changed. And once a new law is established, the body does what it always does. It follows. It aligns. It obeys. You are designed to lead your body, not fight it. From the very beginning, the body was created as a partner, not an opponent. Every reaction it produces is an attempt to protect, adapt, or communicate. Pain, fatigue, tension, and discomfort are not acts of rebellion. They are signals asking for guidance. When you understand this, your relationship with your body changes. You stop attacking it with frustration and start leading it with awareness. Most people live in constant resistance to their bodies. They criticize their symptoms, curse their weaknesses, and resent their limitations. This inner conflict creates more strain than the original problem. The body responds to resistance by tightening, defending, and withdrawing. It does not heal well in an environment of hostility. Healing requires cooperation, and cooperation begins when you stop fighting what is happening and start guiding what comes next. Leadership is not control through force. True leadership is clarity, calm, and direction. When you speak to your body with panic, it does not feel led, it feels threatened. When you speak with steady intention, it recognizes authority. The nervous system responds to tone more than content. A calm voice tells the body it is safe enough to listen. A frantic voice tells it to prepare for danger. This is why soothing language can reduce pain, and harsh language can intensify it, even when the physical condition remains the same. Your body has followed you faithfully through every stage of life. It learned to walk when you tried and failed repeatedly. It healed cuts and bruises you don't remember. It adapted to stress, trauma, and change, often without conscious direction. Even when overwhelmed, it kept going. This loyalty deserves respect, not hostility. When you acknowledge the body's effort, you strengthen the partnership. When you insult it, you weaken trust. Fighting the body drains energy. Leading it conserves energy. When you fight, you create internal division. One part of you wants to heal, while another part is at war with the process. This division confuses the body. When you lead, all parts move in the same direction. Clarity replaces conflict. Energy that was once wasted on resistance becomes available for repair. Guidance begins with listening. The body speaks through sensation. Tightness, heaviness, restlessness, and pain are forms of communication. Ignoring them or attacking them does not make them disappear. A leader listens first, then responds. When you listen without judgment, you gain information. When you respond with intention, you provide direction. This dialogue restores balance. Many people fear listening to their bodies because they think it will make symptoms worse. In reality, awareness reduces intensity. When the body feels heard, it does not need to shout. Tension softens when it is acknowledged. Pain often decreases when it is approached with curiosity rather than fear. This does not mean every symptom vanishes, but it means the body no longer feels alone in managing it. Leading the body also means setting expectations. If you expect your body to fail, it prepares for failure. If you expect it to cooperate, it looks for ways to do so. Expectation is not pressure, it is direction. Saying my body is doing its best to support me creates a different internal environment than saying my body is broken. The first invites cooperation. The second invites collapse. There will be moments when the body feels slow, weak, or unresponsive. Leadership does not disappear in those moments. It becomes more important. A good leader does not abandon their team during difficulty. They adjust strategy. They offer reassurance. They provide patience. When you speak kindly to your body during setbacks, you build resilience. The body learns that difficulty does not mean abandonment. Many people wait for their body to behave perfectly before they treat it with respect. This is backward. Respect is what allows improvement. You do not earn leadership by being flawless, you receive it by being consistent. When you show up daily with calm guidance, the body begins to respond. Progress may be gradual, but it is real. The body responds to intention more than intensity. Small, consistent acts of care matter more than dramatic efforts followed by neglect. Gentle words repeated daily carry more power than harsh commands spoken in desperation. Leadership is not loud. It is steady. You are not meant to dominate your body or suppress its messages. You are meant to collaborate with it. This collaboration creates harmony. When harmony is present, systems communicate efficiently. Blood flows smoothly. Breath deepens. Muscles relax. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of alignment. When you stop fighting your body, you also stop fearing it. Fear creates distance. Leadership creates connection. Connection allows trust, and trust allows healing. The body heals best when it feels supported rather than judged. There will be days when leading feels difficult. Old habits of frustration may resurface. This does not erase progress. Leadership is not about never failing. It is about returning to intention. Each time you choose guidance over aggression, you strengthen the relationship. Each time you choose patience over panic, you reinforce authority. Your body is not an object you inhabit. It is a living system that responds to relationship. How you speak to it matters. How you think about it matters. When you treat it as an ally, it behaves like one. When you treat it as an enemy, it defends itself. You were not designed to live in constant battle with yourself. You were designed for unity. When the mind leads with clarity and compassion, the body follows with cooperation. This is not instant perfection, it is ongoing alignment. As this alignment deepens, you may notice subtle changes first: faster recovery from stress, less internal tension, a sense of steadiness even during challenges. These are signs that leadership is taking root. The body is responding not because it is forced, but because it trusts the direction. And when trust is established, obedience becomes natural. Not the obedience of fear, but the obedience of partnership. The kind that moves with you rather than against you. The kind that supports your intentions instead of resisting them. You do not need to fight your body to change it. You only need to lead it. And when you do, it will respond in the way it always has. With loyalty, with adaptation, with obedience. The body carries an original intelligence that existed long before conscious thought learned to doubt. Every cell was formed with instruction, every system organized with purpose, every drop of blood encoded with memory. Long before you learned language, your body knew how to grow, repair, and protect itself. It knew how to close wounds, fight infection, adapt to stress, and recover from exhaustion. This intelligence did not disappear with age. It was simply overshadowed by noise, fear, and distraction. Renewal begins when you remember that this intelligence is still active and still responsive. The body does not need to be taught how to heal. It needs permission to return to balance. Much of what blocks renewal is not damage, but interference. Chronic stress, repeated fear, and careless language interrupt natural processes. The blood is constantly adjusting to what it perceives as priority. When danger is prioritized, repair is postponed. When survival is emphasized, restoration waits. This is not failure, it is strategy. The body always chooses what it believes is most necessary. When you speak words of threat, urgency, or hopelessness repeatedly, the body believes it must remain on alert. Blood chemistry shifts toward readiness instead of repair. Muscles tighten instead. As renewal progresses, you may notice moments of discomfort or emotional release. This is not regression. It is rebalancing. The body sometimes brings awareness to areas that are ready to change. When this happens, respond with reassurance rather than fear. Speak support. Remind the body that it is safe to adjust. Renewal strengthens resilience. Over time, stress impacts you less deeply. Recovery becomes faster. Emotional swings soften. These changes reflect a body that trusts its environment. Trust allows flexibility, and flexibility allows longevity. The most important thing to remember is that renewal is ongoing. It is not a single event. Every day you speak consciously, you reinforce the process. Every time you choose calm language over harsh reaction, you strengthen the signal. The body learns through repetition, and it remembers through consistency. Your blood has carried you through everything you have faced so far. It has adapted again and again, often without acknowledgement. When you speak life, you honor that effort, you restore partnership, you move from conflict into cooperation. You do not need to understand every biological detail for this to work. The body does not require explanation, it requires direction. Clear, calm, consistent direction allows renewal to unfold naturally. As you continue to speak life, you will notice that obedience does not feel forced. It feels like flow. Systems align, energy returns, balance stabilizes. Not because you commanded harshly, but because you reminded the body of what it already knows. The intelligence within you has never left. It has been waiting for quiet leadership. Speak gently, speak consistently, speak with trust. And the body will respond as it always has when given the right signal. It will renew, it will restore, it will obey.